this technology for facial recognition, because there are many racism, many things. It's more deep. There are many things deep in the situation. I can explain here, but the topic is more complex.
Thank you very much, Ju. This is a very important point that I want to bring about these questions, because there's a lot of racism in this kind of algorithm. So we're gonna get there a few moments later. Thank you very much, Ju. Leandro.
Well, I think the facial recognition technology is a good thing. Of course, I have to agree with Juliana. We have a lot of different ways to use the technology, but I'm thinking about recognition of criminals mainly. For example, if I am convicted of a crime that I made, and I try to go outside to live a normal life with a fake ID, maybe the technology of a big city can identify me, and I don't know. It's something that I only can think about it in this approach. You know, I can't think about negative things or problems that we maybe have with it. But thinking about recognition of criminals, I believe that it will be a good thing to our society to use facial recognition technology. I don't know if it's... Oh, now I realize that it's in the fifth question asking about this kind of situation. But yeah, I believe in general, without going too deep, it's a good thing.
Yes, thank you very much, Leandro. What about you, Wesley? What do you think about this?
Well, I agree with Juliana said, and I think it's just a tool, right? Our technology is evolving and is improving our lives and creating new possibilities, creating new jobs. About the facial recognition, I think it helps a lot in sectors like security, for example. You can authenticate someone or use this for, as I think Leandro said, right, to search for some criminals, for example. But I how I can say, I prefer to keep neutral about this, because the facial recognition is just a technology, right? The problem is how you will use that. It's for good, it's for bad. So, for example, governments that use, I can say, dictatorship, have governments that are dictators, they can use this for bad, right? Control the population, for example, and
Yes.
such things. But it could help us in so much on other things, that insecurity, search for people, I don't know, identify victims of, I don't know, a children that was lost, and it can help to find the fathers of the children, for example. There's a lot of uses, but I don't think the technology itself is a good or a bad thing. I believe the how we use is will define how can be this technology, right? That's my point.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Wesley. I pretty much agree with you and with all of you guys. It's a tool but we have to use it very carefully because as a tool, anything has flaws. So we can't rely on facial recognition 100%. We have to use it to help us, but at the same time, we have to think and use other alternatives to confirm all the things that we are searching. And you, Leticia?
I agree with what Juliana said, and the other things, when you talk about the society in general, there is a many kinds, or how can I explain, many situations you need to think when you talk about the technology and the society. But when, for example, there is a good example when you use the facial recognition. It's avoid the fraud, for example. If you think there is a lot in Brazil, for example, if you think there is a lot of fraud involved this INSS, I don't know, can I explain this in English? Okay. For example, proof of life, the facial recognition, it's a good tool to use this to prove if the people it's live, and you don't need the people going to the specific place, for example. And the other example, when I see use this, it's when you, in the bank apps, for example, they get some pictures about your eyes and identify if you has a bad situation or a good situation when you do the same specific transaction, for example. And in my opinion, this is kind of to use this technology, it's good. But there is a lot of points in society. It's not so good to use about racism and the other things involved the specific groups of the people. Okay.
Interesting. So guys, basically what I get from your answers, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys believe that it's interesting and a good thing if it's used for security, for example, in apps and passwords, something like this, but it can be very dangerous when used to search for people, like the police is searching for someone and they use facial recognition to tell if it's the person or not. Is that right? Do you agree with it too?
Yes, I agree with you, because specifically in Brazil, there are a people, a specific group of people. It's a suffer with the surveillance. The government, the policy, it's a black people, exactly in this situation, like the actor, I don't remember he's American, and
Michael Jordan?
yeah, Michael Jordan B. Michael
Yeah,
Jordan.
I saw it.
It's like a criminal, a crime in the Brazil. I think it's a terrible thing for black people. It's like use the technology against the specific group.
Yes, that is so true. And the bias is so dangerous because the technology, it's built by people, and we all have our flaws, and the justice system, the police, and the government, all these type of organs, they have this specific stereotype to search for the majority of searches for crimes is for Black people. So they took an American actor who is not even Brazilian and just put his face out there, and oh God, what happened? That is awful. So, Wesley, have you ever used facial recognition software?
Yes, I think it's impossible today to don't use one software with facial recognition. Maybe only if you live on a cave, right? Because we are using every day on the apps of the banking apps, for example. I use it on my phone. We can use to unlock our phones too, right? There is some crypto exchanges that uses how can I say, they have a process to verify their customers, and there is something that you have to do on this process to verify yourself, that you have to take your pictures of yourself and take selfies, and for example, you have to turn your head left, right, and say some random numbers, for example. But I think it's just how can you say, I don't think it's safe, because I don't know if you guys have you heard about stable diffusion or images generated using artificial intelligence. Stable diffusion itself is a good how can I say, a good example, because you can use this model, artificial intelligence model, and use your pictures of you, and putting the stable diffusion, train the algorithm, and it will generate images of you, and you just type on text there, and it will generate images, pictures of you. And I trained one, and the results was amazing. I posted it about it on my LinkedIn, and was just like me there, right? So, for example, there's a picture that I was in an airport, but I wasn't on this airport. There's fighters, jet fighters on the background, but I never was there. The picture is fake. Is artificial intelligence generated, right? So I think it's just about time when the artificial intelligence will break those facial recognition softwares using in security, for example, authenticate in your phone or in your banking account, or even on this example that I said in the cryptos exchanges, right, to verify a customer. And the technology will always evolve, and in the future, I think it will not be used. I think the password will be always a thing, because for now anyone can read your mind, right? So the password is a thing that I trust. I think that's it.
Amazing. Very nice, Wesley. It's like that, guys. The more we're known, the more we're available to fall in scams, to commit crimes against us, because we give our data to the internet, to the algorithm. So the world has a large database about our faces, our passwords, our tastes, our interests, our addresses, our cell phones, everything we put online. It was like we were talking about a few immersions ago with Leticia. We put our cell phone, our email to participate in a IT challenge, for example, to participate to an immersion in technology and an online event and all kinds of stuff. So it's very hard. What about you, Leticia?
I use this in the bank accounts and the wallet accounts and the other financial system, but in airport I use this, and I'm surprised because I put my passport in part of this, and I'm a short person, okay, and I listen, I listen, and the machine is down to recognize my face. Oh! And I forgot I was the mask, okay, and the policy talked to me. You, I don't know how can I say, tira sua máscara. Okay, but I'm surprised with this because I don't have idea the airport is so technology about the recognition of facial.
Yeah, I forgot about that. On the airports, there's a lot of machines to make your facial recognition. You put your passport and the machine is like a screen like this and use facial recognition. There's something interesting, guys, I want to tell you. In the place that I work for the Secretaria de Educação do Estado de Goiás. And there's a project out there that they are making facial recognition into schools. So when the kid or teenager goes to the classes, they don't have to make the presence list on the classroom, or they don't have to show the school's ID, for example. They pass in front of the machine and the machine reads the children face. It's very interesting, but like everything, it has a lot of flaws. For example, there are people that are twins. There are people that they took the first photo with bangs and glasses, and then they changed their hair and they wear makeup, for example. So there's been a lot of different opinions about this in the parents inclusive, and it's very interesting, but it's this in the same time it makes me think a lot about the security, and it's going on. A lot of schools of the state, they are implementing this project. What about you, Leandro?
I was here thinking about your answers and thinking about the companies. What if they keep these images to I don't know, to assure that we made this transaction or something like that? Because you are here working, oh, I need to transfer some money, and okay, the bank app asks a photo. So in my case, I have to put off my glass, and I realize, oh, how ugly I am. It's not necessary to remember that in the middle of the day. What the hell? And we have something in the format of egg to guide ourselves to put our face there. And I don't know how to say constrangedor in English. I don't remember, but it's something embarrassing, actually. It's embarrassing. Oh, perfect. And
Yeah,
yes,
it's
of course, I
embarrassing.
already had used it, but I didn't realize that in the airport, the machine can adjust to our photo.
I didn't know
Or
as well. That's new information, Leticia.
Okay, it's so funny because I put my passport and I waiting, and the machine goes
Was
down.
looking for you. Where is
Yeah,
she?
and I'm
Oh,
looking where you go, where I go, and because the port don't open, and where I go, and the machine.
and all of a
This part
sudden,
is so fun, okay?
and all of a sudden, your face is there on the TV screen or even in
Yeah.
Jornal Nacional. Brazilian avoid to be identified. Hey, I'm here.
I'm here, look at me.
Here,
Oh,
down there.
God.
Down there. Oh,
I'm a famous person.
Yeah, you're gonna be famous, Lay.
Do you guys
Um,
have a chair to me to step up?
I stairs. It's a good choice. It's practical to live with me.
Oh, guys, you can't help it. Okay, Ju, did you answer? Number 2?
No. Yes, I use it. I use it in this week. I need to change my email in the bank, and they ask me my face. And in my neighborhood, there are two gym needs to recognition face or insight in the gym.
The gym? Really?
Yeah, really.
Wow, I've never seen. Interesting.
I don't
I
know.
just
I think, sorry, I don't know. I think that gym is just a secret place. Like, I think Juliana is a agent, secret agent.
Are you a double agent, Ju?
hopefully this photo is taken in the beginning of your training and not at the end, because
Yes,
there's a lot of
yes.
difference in the physiognomy.
There's a lot of difference.
Maybe if it was in the end, the facial recognition won't work.
It won't recognize you in the end. If you compare the end and the beginning, it's like it's not the same person. At least I'm not. One last situation, guys, that I just remembered. 2 situations, actually, when I'm going to log in my Mercado Libre account on the computer. I just can't do it because it asks me to take a picture or make live facial recognition. And they say that there's too much light, that they can't see me. It's so stressful, and I always have to use it on the phone. The other situation is that I recently opened a new bank account on a digital bank, and it asked me a lot of pictures, a lot. I have to look up, look down, look to the side. And I stayed, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes doing this, because every time I did, oh, I can see you. Oh, take another picture. Oh, stay still. It's very boring. Yeah, that one. That one, I didn't like it. I was very unhappy about it. But at the end of it, after a million tries, I was able to open my account. So guys, Leticia, do you think using facial recognition is safer than a password for unlocking your phone?
Okay, specifically your phone, I think it's the bad way to use, because if you think in Brazil specifically, I don't know in the other countries, okay? For example, people use a lot of digital wallets, and there is a lot of criminals about other people get your cell phone and use the financial apps to get money, okay, to get your money. If you use the facial recognition, the guy puts your face and go and they run with your phone, and and the app is open, okay, all the time, okay. I manage many situations about this, okay, but okay, my mind it's so imaginative sometimes. But I read the article about with the guy, especially in security, and he worked as a digital bank, and he talked a lot with different kinds of to you lock your cell phone. And he's in this article, he said the facial recognition, it's the bad way to use this. And I don't use more. I prefer put the password. Okay, it's the bad, okay, but in this specific time, or there is another cell phone, but it's impossible in Brazil. It's so expensive.
Yeah, it's not easy to have two cell phones. It's hard to have even one because cell phones nowadays they're so expensive. So expensive. What about you, Ju?
I'm trying to believe in the passwords with the recognition phase. It's more safe, but sometimes appears I scan. I don't know what these things happens. I don't know. I think if there are some people in the company, it's facilitated for the crime. I don't know what happens.
Yeah. I guess, guys, there's the good side of it and obviously the bad side of it. The good side, I believe, it's easier for people who have difficulty to memorize their passwords. For example, older people, it's hard for them to memorize a lot of numbers and a lot of letters. So it's easy to hand your grandma a phone that will unlock only with her face. And for her, for example, it's secure because no one else can look through her stuff. And she doesn't have to memorize the password, for example. But I do believe that everything that the industry and the companies make, it's not for our benefit at first position. It's always for them to, one, make more money, always make more money, and two, to collect even more data. And collecting even more data, they can use it to learn what we like, what we want, what we don't want, to make more money 2 times. So that's it. What about you, Leandro?
I always found the funny side of the question. In my case, that not happens because my wife has my password of my phone. But there are some cases that the girlfriend or the boyfriend can use your face while you're sleeping and then unlocking your cell phone or even your fingerprint. So
Oh
in
my God.
case, yeah, in my case, I solved this because we have nothing to hide from each one. But I believe that facial recognition is not safer than a password for unlocking our phones.
Yeah, that happens, guys. It's a bit funny, but it actually happens with face IDs and digital ones. I've seen it. What about you, Wesley?
I think it depends. For example, if your password is just like 1 2 3 4, it will not be safer than facial recognition. And it depends as well on how the facial recognition works. For example, in iPhone, it's more advanced, right? They have they capture deep profundidade with infrared lasers, and it's harder for criminals to how I can say, unlock a cell phone with just like a picture of you, right? But if you are using a cell phone more simple, as I can say, and Android, for example, a low budget cell phone, for example, the technology will be more simple, right? It will not have the capture deep, for example, and it can be more risky because we can trick the unlock mechanism to just with a picture to unlock the cell phone, for example. And I think it depends. If you have a strong facial recognition that have capture deep, will be more safer than a simple password as well, like 1234, right? But I think every technology has flaws, right? Because we are just creating that, and we are always committing errors, right? So as the technology is evolving, those mechanisms is becoming better. So with time, it will becoming better and better, like the capture deep from the iPhone, for example. And it will always be some way to, someone will find a way to break the code or bypass the mechanism, right? So it's a thing that will always be happening because we are always having someone just researching, looking for fails, and there is some prizes that companies give, awards. I don't know. There's some programs in security that if you find some vulnerability on their systems, you can get paid by your fine, your report, right? So it's an interesting thing, but we will never have, I think, in my opinion, we will never have a 100% safer system, right?
Yeah. Just to complement what you said, Wesley, I have a friend who works with that, finding flaws in the softwares, and guys, he makes a lot of money. So if you want to do that for a job, it's worth it. And very interesting what you said about it depends, because as users, when we put our password and when we put our digital or our face, for us, everything's the same, but it's not. There are a lot of devices, there are a lot of softwares that they're different from one another, and there are one that is better and the other one is more open to flaws. So it's hard to make it general because we don't know what happens behind these technologies. For example, to use the facial recognition in the digital bank is one, to use the face recognition in Mercado Libre, for example, that I said is another one. So is it safer to use my password or my facial recognition? Which one? I don't know, because I don't know how it happens behind. It's hard for us users to define and determine this. Leticia, do you think cameras with facial recognition technology will be common in the future?
Yes, I think there is a more common places to use the facial recognition because, for example, in Porto Alegre, in downtown, for example, there is a lot of cameras I don't know. In downtown, okay, there is a lot of cameras, and I don't know if at the moment they use a facial recognition, but I think in the future we will use more in the traffic and in control the people, control the traffic. For example, the buses in Porto Alegre, a lot of the buses use the camera when you get up in the buses. And I remember the other example. For example, it's to use the camera to control. It's to in workplaces, for example, where it's dangerous to use it. There is a specific the kinds of work with the more dangerous, for example, and control the work with kids. I don't know how to explain in English, for example, but I remember I listen a talk about the how to use the facial recognition and the blockchain with to control a specific work when kids don't have to work, okay? And the specific, for example, manufacturing clothes or shoes and the other things. I don't know the name is specific in English, okay, but the control if the kids inside these places and it's not a specific place for kids. And I think in the future it's a good to use, for example, this technology to control this environment, for example.
Wow, very interesting.
But there is a lot of laws probably involved this, and Juliana explain more about this.
She's a specialist. And one thing you said about cameras downtown your city, and that's the point. They may be using the facial recognition, but we don't know if they do or they don't. Maybe they're using already a lot of years, but maybe they're not. We don't know. What do you think about this, Jo?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Question number 4.
Okay. Do you think the cameras with facial recognition technology will be commonplace in the future? I think yes, but it's no. I think these things happen now. And like Letícia said, inside the bus, in my city, Belo Horizonte, have it too inside the bus. And I go to the health center in my neighborhood. There is camera in front the, how do you say the word? The refrigerator, the vaccine. Yes. In front the refrigerator to see the thermometer is it's the right temperature. Okay, there are camera, but don't have how do you say the gerador? Don't have gerador. If the energy is down, no makes sense. Thanks this in the street, inside the company, in the bus.
Guys, I've never seen cameras on buses. That's so fancy. I've never seen it. It's so common for you.
Yeah, it's common for me. I for a long time.
That's very interesting.
I don't remember the exact time, but have a long time in my.
That's very interesting because there's a lot of crimes happening inside of public transportation. So it makes us feel a little bit more secure, even though even though we're not actually, but it gives that sensation of security. But it's very interesting. What about you, Leandro?
I'm laughing here because as soon as Juliana said they have camera in the front of the refrigerator, I associated with these kind of colleagues that stole food from us in the company. So the camera is there to identify this criminal that ate the rest of our sandwich or that drink the rest of our Coke.
No, because this refrigerator exists for vaccine. It's
Okay, so it's a different approach, but my mind is dirty. And I remember sometime that my colleagues put some, I don't know, laxante, how to say laxante in English, but you know, they put it in the Coca-Cola because
Oh my God.
we could never left some Coke there because the other day, the next day, there's nothing anymore, and all of a sudden the guards, the vigilant, left 3 days. We got him. So if we had a camera with facial recognition, maybe it would be
Oh
easier to.
God.
But yeah, I believe that cameras with facial recognition technology are already a reality. We have a neighborhood here near Florianopolis called Pedra Branca, White Rock. And they have, it is a 4.0 neighborhood, I guess. They have a lot of cameras, specialized cameras that recognize vehicles, and they check their plates, license plates, and even humans. Yeah. So if
Really?
if there's something, someone strange in the neighborhood, the guards can verify what's happening, or a different car that is not on the database. And I believe that this is a tool to improve the safety on the region. I don't know.
Wow. How do you know that?
Because I went in a dinner with Intelbras that they are trying to selling these cameras to me. I don't know why. It was free dinner.
Money moving the road.
Free food, just free food.
Free food. Shut up
I
and take my
mean-
money. But
Leandro, but is Pedra Branca here in Floripa or in Palhoça?
Palhaço.
Okay.
Palhaço.
Wow, that's very interesting. I didn't know. Yeah, that's a very great example of the use of facial recognition. It's, for me at least, it's the first one in public places that I've heard of working here in Brazil. Very interesting. What about you, Wesley?
I agree with Juliana. I think it's happening, right? The cameras is everywhere today. And if you look 10 years ago in the past, you will see that was harder to have a camera or a cell phone with a good camera, right? So today we can just see something weird in our neighborhood, someone strange, or I don't know, some criminals, for example, and take pictures, right? Record the criminals, for example. And I think we will be always, and I think that will, how I can say, will be in more places in the future as well. For example, if you look today, the facial recognition algorithm, they have to it needs a model to work, right? And to train these models, machine learning models, it's harder because you need to have some computer power to do that. and there's a cost to do that, right? So as the technology is reducing costs, is improving and reducing costs, the facial recognition will become even more better because we will be more cheap. So I think it will be a reality, more cameras and facial recognition everywhere in the future.
Very interesting, guys. I've seen a documentary on Netflix a few years ago, I guess. It's called Coded Bias. I'm gonna send you here. I recommend it very much for you to watch. It talks a lot about how about the bias in facial recognition, about the point that you brought to us, for example, and Wesley also said the difference and how it works in dictatorial countries, and they use for it's biased for they use for Black people, for example, that they are how can I say, they are the target, and there are a lot of mistakes, a lot of confusion about people that they are forgot the word, not criminals, they're innocent. They take people that are innocent because the bias and the facial recognition didn't get it right, and they discover years later, and after a lot of things happens and destroy people's lives. And on the other side, on the other countries, for example, they use this for control of the population, to watch their steps and make them in a place where they can't talk about very much about the government, about what they're living. It's very interesting. And I don't know if it's on Netflix anymore, but maybe it is. So I loved our conversation today, guys. I want to know a little bit what you learned here. What did you think about the subject? Did you enjoy? How is it for you guys?
Was great.
Yeah, Leandro.
That's it. It was great. We always have the opportunity to think about different approach, think from different approach about these subjects these topics that we discuss here, and it's right to be here with you guys.
Thank you very much. Ju, do you want to say something? It's muted.
Just to say thank you. It's a good talk. I really like it. Participate in your immersion. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. It's always nice to have you here, Ju. What about you, Wesley?
Yeah, was amazing. I didn't see the time go by. It was a very fluid conversation, right? And the time just passed, and I don't see it passing.
Nice, that's very interesting. We know when the conversation is good, we don't see the time flying. Leticia, want to say something?
Yes, it's a good topic, and I like to talk about technology and what this is involving our lives, because sometimes it's you just using, you just accept, but don't think about this, okay? And I think it's a good place to talk about this and the good topics.
Amazing. Guys, I left here the survey link on the chat. Please rate this immersion. It's very important for me. And I also want to tell you guys that next week we're talking about the inspiration or, I forgot, sorry. Inspiration or dangerous comparison on the internet and social media. What's the difference and the fine line about you comparing or inspiring with other people on social media and all over the internet? So if you want to talk about that with us next week, please come back here at 7 p.m. Okay, guys? I hope you have an amazing end of the week, and bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you. Bye bye.